We are here. We are here. We are here. Attitude Era Podcast. We finally did it. We finally did it. We've been waiting for D-Lo Brown to put, not only to do an interview with him, but to have him here at the actual, you know what I mean, location, studio with the announce table, with all the belts here. And he brought, because I was kind of worried. I was about to order it. I didn't even tell you this. I was like, yo, we need the black European. Yeah. Because I just envisioned when you used to walk down with the head shake with the European, you know what I mean, over your shoulder, man. But legend in the building. Appreciate you for pulling up, D-Lo.
D-Lo, my absolute pleasure, man. I can't believe I'm here. It started out as a phone call from Godfather. He said, you need to go on the Attitude Era podcast. And I looked it up, and I looked at it, I watched it. I was like, you know what? That seems like a dope place to go. So here I am.
Sir, man. Appreciate you being here, man. Appreciate you being here. Z.
Can we all do this together before we get started real quick, though? We got to do one time. Can we all? Come on, we here, man.
You know what I'm going to do for y'all? Ready? Throw it up. Y'all in the nation for the night. Ooh. You're in the nation for the night. Yeah. Look, the dog. Dog on the other side of the camera.
Let's go.
Throw it up. We in the nation for the night. All right.
Man.
That's what I'm talking about.
I think that's a great place to get started. We should get started right there.
Shoot it off,
at the Nation of Domination. What is it like to be part of one of the most historic stables we've had on? Mark Henry and the Godfather, also big parts of the Nation.
You know, I'll be real. We had no clue what the Nation was when we were in it, in terms of we knew we were a few guys getting together having fun. We didn't know the cultural aspect of what the Nation was going to create and what it would push. And I can't tell you how many wrestlers of color 20 years later come up to me every day and go, my man D-Lo, your time in the Nation was why we're in this. You guys created this avenue for us to be in. And for me, I'm blessed to be part of it. It sits in my head because it's like when I got in the business, there weren't many people who looked like me in it.
Yeah.
And now you look at the industry and there is color. It's the rainbow. There's color all over this business, and I freaking love it. And you can all trace it all back to the Nation.
For sure. My question to you is, when you guys started this, because I remember asking Godfather, I was like, did you think the impact would be, because it was bigger than wrestling. Mm-hmm. At that time period, you know what I mean, it was a lot of people that was like, wow, they're actually not only just wrestling, but the message that they're sending is taking a stand for something. Did you guys foresee that when you started it, or was it just going with the...
We were going with the flow, dog, and it was like we were just out there having fun, but then you look back on it 20 years later, and you're like, man, the cultural impact we had on this industry. People at home were sitting at home going, there's someone who looks like me in a wrestling ring who's winning, and they're not just being a thug or a gangster. They're actually real wrestling superstars, and I could be that. Yeah. And that, to me, when I hear those stories now, it's like, holy hell, we were trailblazers and trendsetters in a time when it wasn't acceptable to be that. And we laid down a pathway for wrestlers of color. And I'm not talking about black or anything. I'm talking about all wrestlers of color, because someone like you was on TV out there doing the thing.
Right. And, you know, someone else we've interviewed here on the Attitude Era podcast who was in the Nation, Savio Vega. Mm-hmm. And something he brought up is that he kind of got, not negative backlash, but he said Nation kind of got threats for a little, like people in like a whole political thing. Like, what was that like?
It was something, because, you know, whenever you're the first of something, you're gonna get beat on, you're gonna get hit on, you're gonna get threatened, you're gonna get called out, and all we did was stay the course. And then at the end of the day, the Nation became bigger than all those idiots out there who wanted to call us out. It became bigger than all those idiots who wanted to push us down. And if you look at the Nation, don't look at the Nation as itself. Look at how everyone in the Nation became bigger after the Nation was over. Rock, biggest freaking person in fucking all of Hollywood, pardon my French. Ron Simmons goes on to win World Tag Team Championships. Mark Henry becomes World Heavyweight Champion. Godfather goes on to become the fucking Godfather. And then me, I get to have some fun and go out there and do some stuff. So, to me, the Nation is important, but the Nation was a launching pad for every one of us that was in it, and made us all bigger and better. And for that, I'm eternally grateful.
Similar response to Mark Henry, by the way, before we go, because we interviewed him as well, and he said the same thing.
Yeah,
it's important to know what it was and what it became and what it did for us.
Now, also, right, because not only was the Nation, you know what I mean, one of the greatest stables that was made in the WWE, but your character was signature. And one of the main things with your character was the head shake. What's the origin of the head shake? Was that because a lot of times now that we're hearing this as kids, you know, we thinking everything is intentional. But as we talk to, you know what I mean, some of our favorite stars now, they tell us like a lot of things happen unintentional, and then it just sparked.
Well, and I'll lend right into that. It was unintentional. So back in my day, when DVDs first started coming out, you'd run around with you'd have in your travel bag a sleeve of DVDs, your favorite movies, right? And you had your little DVD player. So this is literally the story. Rocky and I, one night, we just finished a show. We drive back to our hotel. Can't go to sleep. I pull up my sleeve of DVDs. I throw in the movie Friday. We all know Friday, right? Y'all know Friday.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there watching Friday. And then all of a sudden, Debo knocks brother out, and Chris Tucker goes, "You just got knocked the fuck out."
Yeah.
And he shakes his head.
Wow.
And the next day on Raw, Rocky is wrestling Ken Shamrocks. He's wrestling Ken Shamrock, and literally Ken gets thrown out to the floor. We're getting ready to go to commercial break, so I know the camera's going to focus right on Ken because I can hear Jim Ross in my head going, "We'll be right back!" Right? So I knew I need to steal 10 seconds. So when Ken got thrown over the top rope, I ran up to him and go, "Ken, you just got knocked the fuck out!" And that was the first time I shook my head on TV.
That's all.
Wow.
It was literally watching Friday the night before. I had no clue that I even was going to do it. I just did it because I just knew I wanted to put that moment on TV. And literally when I got back up top of the ramp, Vince goes, "Hey, that thing you did with your head, keep doing it." And when I knew I piqued his curiosity about what I was doing, I thought I had something.
Yeah. Once you get Vince do that, I mean,
that's it. Once I knew I had I piqued his attention. He looked into okay, and then that's when the chicken strut and the shoulders and everything. Because I was like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
let's go. You know, the same thing as battle rap. You know, if I find something that's gonna punch you in the face, I'm gonna keep jabbing your ass, right?
They like it.
That's called the angle. If they find that one thing, it's never. And in battle rap, they'll make up anything and just say it.
But when you find that thing that lets you in the door, you ain't never letting that door close again.
Yeah, you can't. You can't if it's not.
That's wrestling.
That's a fact. And so someone you brought up, The Rock, someone who was also in the Nation, to circle back to that. So we got a question that we ask everyone who's in the Nation that we get on this show because we need to know. Who's a better leader, Farouk or The Rock?
Oh, come on, man. Farouk, man. Look, dog. I'm going to put it like this. If you look in the dictionary, you look up the word man, there's a picture of Ron Simmons sitting right there. That's all I'm saying. That's my dad. There's a picture of Ron Simmons in the dictionary next to man because that sumbitch is the dad I always wanted in my life. I'll leave it at that.
Is that the reason he kicked out everyone but you?
You know, he love a brother. You know, what can I say? He love a brother. I'm like his son.
I see. So, do you have a favorite Nation moment?
Probably when Ron kicked everybody out but me.
That was a great circle around.
Speaking of this, you said when y'all was watching Friday, you mentioned you and The Rock, because I just watching it now after the group. You know what I mean? Splits up. Me as a kid just wanting to know now. What was your relationship, or what is your relationship with The Rock?
To this day, every member of the Nation I can call right now. I got on speed dial right now to this day.
That's fine.
I ain't gonna call his ass, dog. But like, we weren't just friends on screen. We were friends.
Okay.
In real life. That's why we had so much fun on screen, because you had 4 or 5 friends out there hanging out, having a good time, and it just happened to be on TV.
Yeah.
So, like, we all traveled together. We were in the same car together. Rocky and I have stayed in many, many hotels together. We are dogs and boys to this day. I love him. I love all his success. I wish him the best. Hey, Rock, next movie. Just letting you know.
Absolutely. You know what was one of my favorite Nation moments that I don't know. You tell me if they would ever redo this when DX mocked the nation.
I don't think they'll ever redo it again because here's the thing: is one, today in 2023, blackface is not acceptable, and I think that skit could have been done the exact same way and just as funny without blackface.
Yeah.
But now, if you break it down to what it was so good. They did a great job of mimicking us. And for Road Dogg, he let everybody know who the hell I was because no one really realized I shook my head or did my stuff. And I always tell Road Dogg to this day, and I'll call him tomorrow and be like, hey, bro, you know you did a better D'Lo Brown than I did.
Yeah.
So, like Road Dogg put me on the map because he did it. They did that skit, and two segments later, here I come walking in the ring. People are like, oh, hell, he really does walk like that and do that stuff.
Yeah.
So I love the skit. I wish we could have done it without blackface, but I think it was fun. It was entertaining, and it made people mad.
Yeah, it did.
And that's all you can do in wrestling is to peak an emotion and get something out of people.
It was really what the Attitude Era was, pushing the envelope further and further and further and seeing what they could get away with.
Yeah, absolutely. It was about pushing the pedal to the metal, going 1,000 miles an hour, and if we hit something, oh well. If he dies, he dies. Yeah. It was kind of like that way. It's like, let's see what happens. Once again, it's probably the same thing you do. Probably the same thing you do when you go out there and you're up on stage against someone. Push the pedal to the metal and see what happens, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That was attitude. That was attitude across the board.
Absolutely. So another amazing thing. I love how you stated the importance of the nation. Mm-hmm. How you don't gotta be gangsters, but the best people sometimes start as gangsters. Like D-Lo. You was a security guard for the gangsters, and you worked with New Jack.
Yes, I did.
What was that like?
I love that son of a gun. New Jack
rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Look, give it
absolute
up,
rest in peace. And absolute hardcore legend.
One of the realest son of a guns I've ever been in the ring with. You didn't have to ever ask if New Jack was for real because what you got was the real him. Now, what you don't know is when the lights went off and we got in the car, he became Jerome Young. And that's when you got to know a brother. That's when you got to bond with him. And there was some times out there when he would say some stuff like his best line I ever heard, which almost made me lose character on TV, is when he's like, I got a college degree and a criminal record. And I was like, damn, that's some hard stuff.
That's
there.
some bar.
That's some hard stuff.
Best of both worlds.
Like you can't mess with him.
Yeah.
He's smart and he's thug. You can't mess with him.
That's a bar.
And when he's saying that in some little high school in Kentucky or wherever the hell we were, you heard the people go, oh. And they went, oh. And at the same time, I'm going, oh, that's some hard shit there. Yeah. So I love Jack. Rest in peace. I'm close to his family to this day. I call his wife right now. She's like my little sister. Man, I love that son of a bitch. I miss him. I got his, literally, when Jack passed away, his wife sent me his hat and jacket that he wore at a show one time, a tuxedo jacket and his hat. I got it right now sitting in my office. That's how close he was to me.
That's fire.
And what was it like? I want to know being in the gangsters because I've seen interviews with New Jack. He talks like about the crowds being so racist and stuff. What was it like being in that time? And can we maybe compare and contrast a little with Nation? Because I think they do have similarities.
There's similarities, but like think about the gangsters. Here we are in the middle of Tennessee, and we're three black men pointing out white people's problems and calling them out for what we think they are. Mm-hmm. And bro, we didn't have heat like in heat where they'd boo you. We had heat where they want to kill us, like lynch us, like hang us. Wow, like
that's
that.
Crazy.
It's different. Like in Tennessee, wrestling is still real up until like 2 weeks ago. So you can imagine 25 years ago, like. Man, we'd leave a city and we knew people were trying to follow us. We knew we couldn't stop at a gas station because we might get pulled up on. We might get rolled up on.
Yeah, for sure.
It was literally we'd gas up the car before we got into town so we didn't have to stop until we got back to Knoxville. That's heat. That's I want to kill you heat. Now I'm compare and contrast to Nation. It was a little different. We were corporate. We were a little bigger. We didn't go extreme racist or calling white people out. We were just militant. Whereas the gangsters, oh boy, we just told them motherfucker what they was about, and they didn't like it.
Yeah. No. So I gotta ask you this. This was supposed to be my second question, but before we started the main episode,
Yep.
D-Lo said, "Remind me to tell you a story about Rock and the IC title."
So, the night before Rock won the IC title with the purple strap, right? He brings me into the office. There's a big office with a bunch of cases, right? And he opens it up and he goes, "Look at the IC title they're gonna give me tomorrow." I looked at it and went, in my mind I was like, that's the ugliest thing I ever seen in my life. It was purple. It didn't look like the IC title that Bret Hart had. Like, as a historian, it did not look like the IC title. That's when they went to the oval shape as opposed to the square shape.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if I really like that, right? Now, fast forward 6 months when I win the damn thing, I'm like, it's the prettiest title I ever had in my life. It's amazing how beautiful this thing is.
It is beautiful. Like, I think
it's beautiful now.
Yeah.
But when I first saw it, anything that's new sometimes rubs you the wrong way.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I was like, that is the ugliest belt I've ever seen. It looks like an egg. It's the ugliest. Now, I couldn't imagine my life without it. Like, when I got it, I remember sitting, putting the IC belt and the Intercontinental belt, or the Intercontinental belt and the European belt on my bed, and looking and going, holy hell, is this real? They're both right here, and they're both mine.
It's so cool.
And that's the next question I wanted to get into. Like, what is that like when Vince tells you you're about to be a double champion?
Yeah.
You're about to be the Intercontinental and the European champion at the same time.
It's A, it's a shock. And then B, it's a pat on the back because they're validating your hard work. And they're telling you, we're going to let you be one of the guys. Yeah. You're going to run with our title. You're going to be one of the guys we're going to try to make money off of going forward. And I remember like that day when they told me I was going to beat Triple H for the belt. I was like, really? And then Brooklyn Brawler was going to rib me. He was like, why don't you get the belt from Triple H so we can cut some promos? And I was like, no, I'll do it tomorrow because I ain't doing it today in case something changed between now and 10:15. I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to touch it until it was handed to me. Yeah. And then, wrestling is scripted. We all know that it's entertainment, but when that belt's handed to you, that moment is real because at the end of the day, we all started out as fans of this. And we all started out watching this and thinking about this and wanting to be that guy or that girl, right? So when they finally hand you that belt and it's yours, you get the 1, 2, 3, the bell rings, your music's playing, and they hand you that belt, that's the realest I've ever felt in a freaking ring. Is when they were because it was like, oh my God, my 9-year-old self is holding a championship in the WWE.
Now you told a story with the purple strap with the Intercontinental, but I asked you this off camera, but I need this on camera. The green strap, because I asked you, I wasn't sure. I was like, yo, D-Lo, did you ever hold the green strap European? And you said you're the person that introduced.
I'm the person that brought the green strap into the world because once again, we go back to the cases that are in the back locker room. They have several versions of every title there. And the green strap was just sitting in a drawer. And I saw it, and I'm like, damn, I need something that's going to make me stick out. No one had a green belt.
At all.
No one, anywhere, in wrestling. Yeah. And I'm like, why aren't we using this? So then I asked permission. I'm like, can I use this green strap? Can I trade this in? And that's when the green strap came out. And that's when I started saying I was from different places in Europe. Because I wanted to be different. Yeah. And so the green strap was just an extension of me trying to stand out for that. When I walked through the curtain, I wanted to make you look at me and go, I like or I dislike this son of a gun. Yeah. And that green strap added to that.
2 more questions on this before we see it. How many people held the green strap title?
That's a good question.
You know the answer? Or?
No. I don't know. I don't know the answer.
I was asking D because
I think I seen X-Pac with
it. X-Pac had it.
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett had it.
So we got the originator and X-Pac. That's amazing.
X-Pac had it. Jeff Jarrett had it. I think Shane had it. That might be about it because the green strap didn't last long. It went back to the black strap, but it was about a 2-year run. The green strap was there.
Yeah.
And everyone who traded had the green strap. And it was only, I mean, there's only a handful of European champions as it is.
Yeah.
So maybe Midian, maybe Shane,
Okay.
X-Pac, myself, Jeff Jarrett.
Okay. 5.
That's what I can think off the top of my head.
That's what I'm
now
saying.
Look, at home, somebody's gonna hit me up.
In the comments, for
Okay,
sure.
someone's gonna hit me up.
For sure.
Drop it below in the comments below. Let me know how many brothers have held the green strap.
And how many people was double titles? Like,
I might know that.
okay.
Double titles are
In general, or those
No.
two?
Just we
It
talking
would-
intercontinental European.
myself, Kurt Angle, Jeff Jarrett. That's it.
That's it.
And I was the first.
Yeah, and you was the first.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
it. To have the Intercontinental title, myself, Jeff Jarrett, and Kurt Angle.
Great company to be amongst. Do you have to get that approved? You can't just change the color. You can't just walk out with
No,
the color.
that was I had to go.
what he said.
I had to go ask that question. I was like, "Can I do this?" And then it goes up to it runs up the office, gets to Vince. Vince goes, "Yes or no." He fortunately said yes that day, and that's how the green strap came out.
You know, going back again to an interview we had with Mark Henry, I'd love to show you this clip. I'm going to pause and add the clip. Mark Henry, we have a whole clip of him talking about how you belong in the Hall of Fame. And one of the reasons he says is you brought relevancy to a title that I don't know his exact words, so I don't want to misquote, that maybe wasn't as relevant as before. And, yeah, let's just talk on that.
Well, I consider myself one of many who brought that title to life. Anytime myself and X-Pac fought over that belt, we wanted that to be like a world championship. Like, we wanted it to feel like the Intercontinental title, like the world title. Like, we wanted it to make sense. You know, y'all went to WWE house shows back in the day, right? And in the beginning of the show, they would run the card down. They said, later on tonight, you're going to see this, this, this. And whatever they say for the European Championship, the crowd would pop. And that's when we knew we had taken that belt from being thrown in the garbage can or being a crap belt or just handed over because of a poke of doom to meaning something. Because we fought with that thing and fought for that thing with passion. Because that was our world title. That was the biggest we were going to get. And we were going to make it so you're not going to miss what we're doing. We're going to do something amazing, and it's going to be for this title. And at the end of the match, you're going to hold it up, and you're going to go, that means something. And that's me, that's X-Pac, that's Al Snow, that's all the guys who held that title during that time. We all tried to make it relevant and make it not just a throwaway championship, but something people wanted to see defended.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sure. You know what's something else that D'Lo brought, and people don't even give him credit for it?
Yeah.
The chest protector.
Oh, hell yeah.
Roman Reigns, who's been champion for how long, wore the chest protector. You have Shield. But can you tell us the origins and how we see it in these new wrestlers?
And dog, I will tell you, I hated chest protector in the beginning. And I hated the idea of it. So I'll tell you the story. One day I'm sitting in catering. And Jim Ross comes and sits next to me. He goes, D'Lo, I'd like to talk to you about something. I go, yes, sir. Whatever. What'd you like? He goes, you're a great talent. You can wrestle your ass off. We need something to set you apart. Something's going to make you different. I go, okay. What do you got in mind? He goes, how about your finish a frog splash? Yes, sir. How about we do something where you injure your chest and you put on a vest so every time you use your finish, it means something. And my first thought was, so you want to put a catcher's mitt on my chest? That's what you want to do. You want to put a catcher's mitt on me. I'm going to be Johnny freaking Bench. Like, people are going to laugh at me. And I give my ex-wife credit for a few things. I'll give her credit for this one. I went home, and I was complaining. I was mad. And she looked at me and she goes, hon, if you do it and it fails, at least you tried. But if you don't do it, it's your fault for not trying. And I went, you're right. You're right. I called JR the next day, and I was like, let's do the chest protector. And they built it, and then it was in Pittsburgh. I came out, and once again, it was Ken Shamrock, Rock versus Ken Shamrock. I came out and splashed Ken Shamrock with the chest protector on, and there it was. And it became the greatest thing that ever happened in my career ever. From an idea I hated that was pitched to me, it's one of those things. I haven't been on TV with Chest Protector in 20-something years, and people still remember. It's iconic. It stands out in wrestling. And for me, to have a place in wrestling where someone remembers you other than just a name, bro, it's the greatest thing I ever did in my career. And I thank JR. I'm looking at you right now. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're the question?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna ask you because we were talking about all these great moments. Do you have a high point? Like, what is the high point?
Like a career-defining moment.
Yeah.
Man, I got several moments. I mean, winning the Eurocontinental title, and I remember it's Columbus, Ohio, when I won the European title like 3 days earlier, and I beat Jeff Jarrett for the IC title. SummerSlam '98 here in Madison Square Garden, New York City. Val
That's
Venus.
What he said.
Yep.
We just interviewed him. He said his one of his favorite moments was that.
And that match sticks out to me because we were two young kids. If you go back in time, now today we see the monster that is WWE, okay? But if you go back to 1997, 1998, that's the birth of Attitude. So at that point, Steve Austin versus Undertaker in the main event was the most important main event that company had. And here they give us 20 minutes to open the show and set the stage and set the tone. And they say, go out there and kill it. And you're in New York City. So if you don't kill it, New York is going to turn on you like in a heartbeat. So Val Venus and I were given 20 minutes. We went out there and we turned the lights out. And we walked back. And literally both of us walked back to the locker room and went, there you go. Follow that, bitches. And like that was an important moment because they gave us time to go out there and have fun and be ourselves. And I pride myself in that match because I got a D-Lo and a D-Lo sucks chant in the same fucking match. And that's pretty awesome in New York City.
Yeah.
Can we flip it real quick? Do you have a low point? Maybe something that they're like, I wish they didn't make me do that shit.
When they put us with Tiger Ali Singh, myself and Chaz, we were doing Lowdown, and we had just formed a team. And we were out there killing. And all of a sudden, Vince brings me in the office and, brings to the office. We got an idea for you. We got Tiger Ali Singh sitting at home, and we want him to manage you. Now I want you to wear a turban. What? Wait, what? So wearing a turban was the low point, not just of my WWE career, but my wrestling career in general.
Yeah.
Because I would literally wake up, and if I was leaving home, I'd go, how are they going to ruin my career today? Like, literally, that was the thought that was on my mind. Instead of, let's go out there and make history, let's go have fun, it was, how are they going to ruin my career today?
Crazy.
So that was my low point. Anytime you see me in those, looking like Aladdin, that was bad.
Free Palestine, though.
Yeah.
So you had that manager, but you also had another manager, someone who we have to get on this show at one point, because he, at many times, when people thought it was all good, he would walk out and be like, hold on, player.
Hold on,
You're in a handicap 4-on-1 where Triple H, Stone Cold, Undertaker, and Shawn Michaels are all going to beat your ass. What was it like being managed by Teddy Long?
Holla, 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 player.
Holla, holla.
You're going to go one-on-one with The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Being with Teddy was one of the coolest times because that brother was as cool. He was as smooth as the other side of the pill. Like, that's the dog you wanted to be around. He had tons of history in the business and tons of knowledge that he handed to me nightly. So to be managed by him, to walk out to the ring to him, to hear him yell stuff from the floor, man, I consider myself lucky to have been in his corner, to be with him. Because he was one of those guys I grew up watching. Teddy Long was that referee from the NWA, right, from WCW. Then he managed Doom, Ron Simmons, who became, who's like my dad. So I fell in line with one of the greats, and I admire my time and cherish my time I had with Teddy. So
that was a tag team that failed, low point. But you've been in a lot of tag teams. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite? What's your favorite tag team? Tag team, maybe gimmick, or tag team partner? Maybe it's
I'll put it like this, and it's probably nothing you guys ever saw. But after I left WWE, I went over to Japan for a long time.
Yeah.
And I went over with Bull Buchanan. You guys remember Bull Buchanan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we were hanging with him not too long ago.
Okay, and so he and I won the GHC tag team titles in Noah together, and to me, that is my favorite tag team partner, my favorite tag team moment. The fact that we won gold in Japan, which is hard for an American to do, particularly in a both American tag team to do, really meant something special to us. So that's like, I love my time with them. In fact, and I'll say this now, which I'm going to ruin the surprise. Right now, I have 2 copies of the GHC tag team titles being made right now. One is being sent to me, and one is being sent to Bull Buchanan. And in that will be a note saying, "Thank you for the greatest time of my life." So
Fine.
That's an Attitude Era exclusive, too.
That lets you know right there. That lets you know right there what he means to me and what that time together meant.
Yeah.
So you had some moment. You said how people may not know. I saw a moment that people may not know. You, at OVW, wrestled Batista before he was Batista. I'm sure you wrestled a lot of people before they even blew up. What was that like?
It was fun because he was down there and Jim Cornette asked me to come down. And at the time, Batista was using a gimmick called Leviathan. He was
Leviathan. You know what's so crazy? Right now, they actually put that out in WWE 2K23.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know
Leviathan?
that.
Yeah, so they have
Wow.
him. They have John Cena as Prototype.
Oh, it's Prototype,
that's
really?
fire.
Yeah,
That's all right. So yeah, I went down there and Jim goes, hey, we got this young man who's going to be something. They're going to call him up to the roster. Can you push him a little bit? Let's go in the ring and push him. And I went in there and did my best, and I worked his ass out, and to this day, Batista will walk up to me and go, thank you. He'll thank me for what I did for him in Louisville, Kentucky, in the OVW arena, rolling around, just having fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, now I just want everybody here to know, and I did not know that was his name until I played the game.
Bro, it's all good.
I mean, I did not know John Cena was Prototype.
No. See, it's all good. No one knew about that Prototype. I'll tell you this. Here, I'll give you a little story here. So, in WWE, WWF, we do dark matches, right?
Yeah.
The matches that no one sees on TV. So, for about a year, John Cena kept coming in as Prototype. And the boys, all of us would go sit up in the stands because back then, it wasn't full arenas. So we could go sit up in the arena and no one would see us. And you could watch the matches. And we would laugh at John Cena going, he's so robotic.
Yeah.
He's so robotic. But then he came one day and he had a flow to him. And you were like, wait a minute, that's the same dude? Because his body moved differently.
Yeah.
His matches worked differently. And you were like, okay, there's something to that sumbitch there. There's something there. Lo and behold, a year later,
John Cena.
he becomes the biggest star in wrestling and moves on for 10 years. He puts the company on his shoulders. But I remember for about 9-10 months, we would laugh at him going, what is this guy doing? Why is he even doing this?
Yeah.
He became John Cena.
So
Prototype
hold on.
John Cena.
We talked about Batista. We talked about John Cena. We talked about The Rock.
Yep.
You hinted at him acting. I gotta ask you, who's the best? Who's the best actor?
Wow.
Because those are the 3 big wrestlers that made it into acting. I got an answer.
I got an answer too.
You got an answer?
You got an answer?
I mean, I'm going to have to have one.
We're going to put you on the spot, bro. Yeah. You quick with it. Come on, I'm putting you on the spot now.
We'll start with D-Lo. We'll start with
Well, no, I'm going to go last because I got somebody who's off the board.
Oh, okay. So I think Batista. I think he has a huge range.
Great range.
I think he's shown more range. The Rock I love The Rock's movie. It's one note. I love him though.
I feel you.
John Cena, I think, is on the steps to possibly become.
John Cena is comedic, entertaining.
Yeah.
Can be serious. I'll give you Batista. Batista has shown a ton of range.
Yeah.
What do you got, dog?
I'm going to go with The Rock, man.
I knew it.
I'm gonna go with The Rock just because, right? They all act great, but what sets it over the top for me is just Young Rock. Right?
I feel you. I feel you there.
And the reason why I say that is probably just a personal thing because to me that show is so informative.
It brings you up to speed on what wrestling is and the history.
How it came about, how it happened. Because basically, like I said, it's a preference. Like Batista got the most range. I feel like John Cena comedic relief is good, and I feel like The Rock has his own lane with just all those like kid-friendly movies. So you could go any way. So I'm gonna just pick.
I feel you.
I'm gonna say this real quick before you get no spoilers, but I saw the new Fast and Furious. I think they're trying to push John Cena into a box like they did The Rock. I think Batista didn't allow himself. The Drax role is so monumental. But who you got? Best wrestling actor?
I got this. Ready for this? Rowdy Roddy Piper. They Live is one of the best movies ever. The greatest fight scene in a movie. He had tons of range in that movie. You believed him. And the greatest line ever uttered in a wrestling movie is, I came here to kick some ass and chew some bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. One of the greatest lines ever uttered.
That's a fact.
One of the greatest lines ever uttered. Right. I'm sorry. I'm putting it out there. Roddy Piper, one of the best wrestlers ever turned actor.
Nah, that's a fact. So you were talking about New Japan and how after you left WWE, you were able to do these other ventures. I wanted to ask what led to not being part of WWE anymore.
My contract ran out, and it was literally I could resign or I could go explore the world. And up until that point, all I'd ever seen was WWE. But inside of me, the kid was like, let's go see what's out there. Let's go tour England. Let's go be Ric Flair. Let's go tour the freaking world. Let's be in Paris one night and Tokyo the next. Let's see what that's about. And I ended up spending the next 6 years in Japan, going over there 54 times or whatever it was, and enjoying life. And in that, I became this nomad who just traveled around. And to me, that was more rewarding than just being in this little bubble that was the WWE. The wrestling universe is bigger than just the bubble that's the WWE. And we know this now because we see so many different avenues that wrestling is. When you got people staying up until 3 o'clock in the morning to watch New Japan show streaming, it lets you know the reach of what this business is. So I wanted to see what was out there. I wanted to explore. So when my contract was up, it was like, let's just move on and go see.
And so we were talking about you leaving WWE. You were also went to Impact during all this.
Yes.
And you were a commentator. What was your time like there?
I love talking, bro. I got diarrhea of the mouth. I can talk all day long, bro. And when you think about this, when someone asks you to talk about the thing you love the most in this world,
yeah, you should be able to talk about it.
If you can't flow with that, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
So when they said, how about you go out to be a commentator and go talk about wrestling? Are you kidding me? It was like the natural thing to do. I wanted to go out there and I wanted to educate people on the thing, the sport, the entertainment that I loved, and that's professional wrestling. So when I was out there, I wanted to make it feel like not a wrestling show, but like Monday Night Football. Talking like it was talking to you. So when you dropped in on me and whoever else co-host with, it was you were hearing two of your boys talk about wrestling. Not me talking at you, but talking to you. And that was one of the things I prided myself on. And it was just a love I have for this business. I got to give back. I mean, if you can't hear the passion coming in my mouth about this love of wrestling from the time I was 9 years old, then bro, you're deaf because you can't hear what I'm spitting out. You know?
No, absolutely. And I actually wanted to say that earlier when we were talking about the Gangstas, because you were talking about having these people, and you have to love this to have people who want to kill you, follow you out, and still go back to these places and wrestle. Sure. So sometimes in wrestling, so I actually went to wrestling school for a little. So they have a warning at the beginning: do not try this at home. It's a hard thing, and sometimes things happen. I wanted to touch on the Droz incident. Yeah. He said publicly he doesn't blame you. He knows it's an accident. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. It happened in Long Island, New York, not too long from here. I hate the Long Island Mausoleum because it happened there. Yeah. That's why they tore that sumbitch down. But he and I have, to this day, we're friends. So let's put that on blast. To this day, we're friends. We call each other. We talk all the time. We've watched it back, both of us, together. Yeah. And still to this day can't figure out what went wrong. And it was a running power bomb. We had done the damn thing 100 times on house shows leading up to that night. Just on that night, on that day, something went south. Yeah. And I mean, look, that's my lowest point in this business. I actually quit wrestling that night, I was like, I'm done. I'm done. Once again, it's Jim Ross who called me up and gave me the football speech and said, bro, things happen. Let's not let 2 careers end. Why don't you wrestle for 2 people? So from that point forward, when I came back, I didn't just wrestle for myself.
Yeah.
I didn't just wrestle for myself. I wrestled as well for Droz because I was out there representing him as well as me. So lowest point of my career, if I could take one thing back in my entire life, it would be that whole night. I wouldn't even have had that match. I would have whatever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, it just, unfortunately, this is not ballet. I hate to use that term, but it's not a dance. And you risk, every day you go out there, you risk something.
Yeah.
You risk your life, you risk your leg, you risk your arm, your wrist, something. And we just had a bad night, and it just went south. And man, I'm talking about the lowest part of my career. That was it right there.
Yeah, but for you to even be on here and speak about that and actually let people know, because it takes a certain type of individual for you to have so much remorse, and then it takes a different type of individual for him to, you know what I mean, have forgiveness, even though it wasn't because you know how that goes. Somebody, even though it wasn't intentional, you can still go about it the wrong way. You ended my career, you paralyzed me, and to know that y'all got a relationship, like not just us asking the question because it's clickbait, but that's informative for the people that are wondering, like, yo, what happened with that, or feel like it's animosity to know that y'all have a relationship.
And we appreciate you.
Like, for me, I will say this. He's a bigger man than me because I don't know what I would have done if the situation were reversed. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he's the strongest, and I'll use this term, and I love him. He's the strongest motherfucker I've ever been around in my life. For him to embrace me, hold me, tell me it wasn't my fault, and say, go on forward. I love that man. Look, Darren, I love you, bro. I love you.
That's all. And we appreciate you talking about that and sharing that with us. Let's go back to some of the greatest moments, including maybe not for you, Ahmed Johnson slamming you into a car. Why he do that? What's that like?
Who are you talking about?
Also had him on the podcast, by the way.
Ahmed, that was a day they got me hired. If you go back to Shotgun Saturday Night, he plunged me on top of a Lincoln. The original plan was for him to plunge me on the hood. But this is my first night in, so I wanted to make it impact. I'm like, bro, how about we do it on the roof of this motherfucker? Let's do it up top. Because the roof will cave in. It'll look great. And literally, we did the big bump. Boom. Shotgun Saturday Night here in New York City. And I remember coming back to the back, and Vince goes, come here. He didn't even know me at that point. He goes, that was awesome. And right there, about 2 weeks later, a contract was FedEx to me, and I got my job. Because I dropped the bump on him that he had never envisioned seeing. And I wanted to make it something special. And that's what I got the moniker "Take a Bump D-Lo" because it was a big bump. D-Lo was going to take it. If you think about me getting backdrop over the top rope onto Stone Cold Steve Austin's truck, it was "Take a Bump D-Lo." If you're going to do something, do it. And my thing was I wasn't supposed to be there anyway, so I was going to do stuff to make people remember me, make people recognize who the hell I was.
Nah, that you did.
That was my thing.
Recognize the real deal.
Absolutely.
Staying on this subject, I mean, we went off of it. It's not, you know what I mean, it's no way to even describe it, but the good thing that I'm about to mention out of it is your relationship. Rest in peace, Owen Hart.
Absolutely.
Rest in peace, Owen Hart. We don't even have to touch on what happened because that's been spoken about numerous amount of times. God rest his soul, his family. But when I was watching the Dark Side of the Ring special, the story you told, even though, you know what I mean, you've told it already, I just feel like it's so iconic that it needs to just be told because it just shows the character and, you know what I mean, what type of person Owen Hart was, of like how you guys actually got cool.
Just the second you say his name, my heart fills with joy. Like, he brought so much joy to everyone's life. I love Owen. I love you. I love you. I love you. Did I say I love you enough? Because I love Owen Hart. So the story goes, as I remember being, and I had wrestled all over the place, but for some reason, Owen and I are at this house show, and I'm particularly nervous.
Yeah.
I'm nervous as hell. I don't know why. Maybe it's a one-on-one with Owen. I don't know what it was, but I was nervous. And every time I hit Owen, it was too hard. I was beating the shit out of him, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, Owen grabs me, ties me up, and flips me over, puts me in a chin lock. He goes, "Hey," here's my ear. "Hey, look at your boot. My shoelace is untied. What the hell?" Okay, I tuck it back in, right? I tuck it back in. Going again. All of a sudden, snaps me over, chin locked. "Hey, look at your other boot." Holy what is, I don't ever unlace my shoelaces like this. Nothing ever, like, I'm always really professional about this. My laces are never undone. So then I tuck it back in. I'm like, oh God, I can't believe this. I'm embarrassed myself in front of Owen. Oh my God. So wrestle around again. He snaps me over, grabs me a headlock. I look at both my boots. Nothing. Okay, great. He goes, "Hey, look at the ref. His shoelace is untied." Like, what's going on there?
Yeah.
And then Owen grabs me in the chin lock, goes, "You relax now?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Now let's wrestle." And we went out there and had a banger of a match. And it was like, Owen was that good in the ring, bro. He could tell jokes. He could play a rib on you or have a 5-star match all in front of 20,000 people and no one knew the difference. Like that's how good he was. He's the best wrestler I've ever been in the ring with. And I've been in the ring with a lot of people who put boots on. He's the best of all of them.
Talking about you've been in the ring with a lot of people, I wanted to ask you, do you have a favorite person to work with in the ring?
That's easy. Anytime I touched X-Pac, he and I could have a 5-star match in a phone booth. Like we just had that chemistry together. Sometimes you don't know why you mix with somebody. You don't know how. You just know every time you touch them, it's really good.
Yeah.
And X and I, every time we got in the ring, I don't care if it was Shotgun Saturday Night or Sunday Night Heat, Monday Night Raw or pay-per-view, we would put on a match where people, at the end of it, we'd come back and the boys would tell us how good the match was. And that tells you something. And it we just had that chemistry together. I think to this day I could probably go to his house right now, knock on his door, lock up with him, we'd have a hell of a match.
So your return to WWE, how did that happen? What was the phone call like? What was the experience like for you? Like, because just seeing it was like I mean, obviously to us it's a shocker, but to you I'm pretty sure it was things that, happened to make it get to that point. So what was that like? Well,
okay, once again, it happened here in New York City. So I've been over Japan for 4 or 5 years, 6 years. And then Ron Simmons called me and said, "Hey, are you going to be home next week?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "We're going to be in New York City." And I was like, "Well, I'm doing an autograph signing in New York City." He goes, "Why don't you come down to the show? Bring your gear with you. Why don't you come to the show?" I was like, "Okay." I didn't plan on going back to WWE. I go there just to say hi to everybody. And then I get asked 15 times, "Do you have your gear with you?" "Yeah, I have my gear." "You have your gear with you?" "Yeah, I have my gear." "You want a match?" "Okay, cool." And so I went and did a dark match in that Square Garden. And when I went out, they didn't play my music. They played some generic house show music. But the second I got down the ramp, the garden erupted. And I was like, oh, wait, I think I'm home again. Like, it just felt like being home. And so I went out there, and I actually wrestled Big Khan from time it was, I forget, the Ascension.
Oh,
okay.
I wrestled Big Khan, which he gave me a great match, and we went there and killed it. And then 1, 2, 3 happened. The crowd went crazy, and they played my music on the outro, and the garden went batshit crazy. And I was like, yeah, this is where I need to be. And the next night I was up at Mohegan Sun. I wrestled again for SmackDown, and they signed me like 2 days later. It was like, come on back. Now, it didn't work out because, I think I left about 9 months later. But that moment in time when I came back and it felt like everybody remembered me, everyone showed me love and threw flowers at me.
Yeah.
That was pretty damn cool.
Nah, that was fire.
And when are we going to see you come back again to your home?
Good night.
And holla, 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 player.
Well, you know what? Something that's big in wrestling and battle rap, a huge like comparison, and kind of big in any company job, are the relationships we've had. And you had so many great relationships. This is something I ask pretty much everyone we have on. Whether it's good or bad, how do backstage politics, so to speak, play into the career of D'Lo Brown?
Luckily, I got put under the wing of Ron Simmons. He took me under his wing and protected me and took me in as one of his own. So backstage politics never played in my world because I had the protection of freaking Don of wrestling. You know what I'm saying? So, but I've seen it at hand. Fortunately, it's never really reared its ugly head against me, which, knock on wood, I'm very lucky.
Amazing. Well, we've discussed a lot. We've talked high points, low points, everything. I think we need something to get us pumped for this bonus episode. It's time for the kick out.
Here we go.
Gotcha. Is a quick fire question game.
Hit me up.
I'm going to ask you some questions. You have 3 seconds to give me an answer.
Okay.
If you give me an answer, I'm going to give you a point. If you can't, we're going to take one away. There might be a prize, maybe not.
Redheads, big tits.
Oh, I'm going to
big tits.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
You
Let's go.
Or?
No. Redhead with big tits.
Yeah, that's what I thought he said. Yeah,
not either or.
Hey, we're going to talk about this on the bonus episode. We were having a whole conversation. I thought he was playing. I couldn't make something happen. But anyway.
Let's go.
Let's get into the kick out. That's our ref, by the way. He's going to give you 3 seconds.
Yeah, I'm cheat.
He's one of those attitude era refs.
Don't quick count me, bro. Don't give me the quick count.
I got you.
All right, let's go.
Right. Oh, no, he's not going to give you. He might get up to like a 7 count. But anyway, let's get into the kick out in 3, 2, 1. First question, who's the wrestling GOAT?
The wrestling GOAT is Owen Hart.
And who's the best tag team wrestling group ever?
Rock and Roll Express.
Who's the best hardcore wrestler ever?
Oh, God. Sandman.
Best match that doesn't include you?
Man. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock.
Best match that does include you?
SummerSlam 98, Mia Valvinus.
A dream match that you never had?
Roman Reigns, because that's the biggest payoff.
A dream
and
match?
Got the chest protector.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be crazy. A dream match that doesn't include you that you want to see?
I would love this. Man, that's a good one. I'd love to see the Great Muta versus Roman Reigns.
Oh, wow. DX or NWO?
DX.
Attitude Era.
Attitude Era. Tables, ladders, or chairs?
All the above.
What's the best wrestling era?
Attitude, bro. Come on. Attitude podcast. Come on, man. That's like Ray Charles could figure that one out.
Let me ask you this. The IC of the European. It's like picking between kids.
European. You don't have her favorite kid, but I got one. That's her right there.
Rock or Stone Cold?
Rock.
What's your favorite finishing move throughout all of wrestling?
Moonsault. Great Muta.
Raw or SmackDown?
Raw. Red Brown all day long.
Now we're going to go last man standing style for this last question. Give me your wrestling Mount Rushmore.
You can't, man. You can't.
You can name more than 4. We've done this for some people.
You can't, bro. Like, and let's hit a pause on the 3 seconds. You can't do that because if I name 4, I'm disrespecting 400.
That was a ball.
You know what I'm saying
That's a
You know what I'm saying there? I can't name 4. This
Gotcha.
business is not built on the back of 4 motherfuckers. It's built on the shoulders of men and women who've gone out there and given their blood, sweat, and tears to make you, me, and you all love this.
Yeah.
I can't name 4. The Mount Rushmore is every face that's ever been in wrestling.
Yeah.
That's the Mount Rushmore for me.
And that's the kick out with D'Lo Brown.
Attitude Era podcast.
Boom!
In the building, man. Shout out to D'Lo Brown for pulling up. Legendary interview. Make sure y'all go to the Patreon. Subscribe right now to see the bonus episode, behind the scenes, exclusive content. Follow us on Instagram, on Twitter. We out of here.
Don't make me get up and call you out on a rap, bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't want no smoke.
D'Lo versus DNA.